long have we been doing this?
6 years.
What, me and you thing?
No, this podcasting shit.
We've been doing it for 6 years?
I feel like it.
That's kind of cruel. It's not 6 years.
Since
Overton, right?
Since the dark times.
Because I remember the dark times.
Yeah.
It was dark. You know, like we'd all come together. Mm-hmm. It was me, you, Heels, and the boss. Mm-hmm. And we came together because me and you, that's just, one day we'll have to do a chronicalization of the me and you story.
Oh, yeah.
That's 20 years. Mm-hmm. That's 3 separate live-ins. Mm-hmm. This one's definitely the longest. Yeah. But for 7 straight years, you've been by my side. Mm-hmm. Okay? So the year before I graduated nursing school is when you came back, right? Mm-hmm. And then I remember we were hanging out and you were talking about Tony and y'all reconnecting. And I was like, cool. I've never met the guy. I know he's wonderful. So he comes in and he's sad boy too. You're sad boy because, you know, you had to move back in with me, whatever. I'm sad boy because my job fucking sucks. It still does, but I got a support group and I'm finally starting to lean on them instead of put it all on me, you know? Don't do that. So you got me and then Tony and you were already there. And then Austin, who was my coworker, was not sad boy at the time, but he became sad boy real quick. Mm-hmm. And just like everything that happened to each one of us individually, you three highlighted was like, you know, y'all were devastated and y'all got devastated by some terrible people. That's that's the gist. They got devastated by terrible people. And whether it was fresh or whether they just never decided to forget it, because let's face it, we're humans. We all came together, and then about a year into it, I being the voice of let's do something, because it was always be, come over to my house, let's do this, let's cook, let's do this, let's do that, let's do a stupid ass fucking birthday party. Shit, I went in on probably the most fucking expensive venture. The first real piece of podcasting equipment I bought was the Zoom H8.
Yeah.
H8N, I think. Mm-hmm. And we had no business using that piece of equipment whatsoever. We didn't know what we were doing. We had we were in a small attic room. You talk about the best fucking sound ever. Talk about just cramp everybody in with like really shit carpet on the floor and like 30-year-old walls. Best insulation ever. Mm-hmm. Who cares about asbestos, right? And we had a big ass table in a small ass room.
And 4 big dudes.
4 big, hot ass, dumb ass.
It would be sweltering up there.
It would. Dude,
you couldn't see anything because this was all audio back then, so
it was so bad. And we had fun. Mm-hmm. We had fun. We had a great time. And then we kept going and we kept getting better, and it worked. And then Jeff comes along and says, "Hey, let's move." And I didn't definitely say it, but I bought a house. Because it was just time. It was COVID, interest rates were low, and we didn't own a house, and we needed to, and we needed more space. Even though we had a lot of space, Overton had weird amounts of a lot of space. Yeah. You know what I mean? It had a nice floor plan.
It's like useless space.
But useless, you know? So when we moved, we took about a 5 to 6 month hiatus. We got moved. We got a new setup. The front room, the war room as we call it, has all the figures. So like It used to be that it was in another room. Now it was behind us.
Yeah.
And we would still do audio. And I said, we got to buy better equipment because why not? And I went and I bought MV7Xs, Shure MV7Xs. And then I said, no.
That's when I sounded the best.
You think so?
I think so.
I will happily go and replace all of you.
Get some cheaper mics.
Still, no. You think you sounded the best with the original mics, the SM58s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're like $70
The
mics.
shittier the mic, the better I sound.
That's not true.
It really is.
You have a luscious voice, and I have to capture it the best way possible. So I bought Shure SM7Bs. I took them back the next day. I said, nope, give me the best. Give me the best. Went back, did that. We were already using the Rodecaster. It worked really well. It made everything sound good. The processors was good. Everything worked. Everything was good. And then we meet Rex, and I'm like, and everybody was already saying, okay, I think we're ready. I think we're ready to be in front of a camera. But at the same time, whether or not we were ready to actually be in front of a camera, that was obviously not. And it had nothing to do with anything else other than the amount of space and the amount of equipment. Like, I had 4 separate cameras at a time for no reason. I had an assload of fucking good mics. I had that Focusrite 18i12, I think it is, just so that y'all would sound perfect and all that stuff. And I made it absolute hell on them.
Yeah.
I did.
Formats change, 8, 9 times now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Every time you start to get used to something, we're going to change it up again. It's like, okay, cool, whatever, man. I don't care.
That's pretty much what he does. All right, fuck it. Yeah, that's what Jeff wants. And then we find out Legs is coming to Augusta. And while it was never the original part of the plan, when everything went down, and y'all can watch that where the podcast ended up moving here. I can't remember what it's titled off the top of my head, but I do know that it was about his breakup. And that's technically how the podcast ended up here.
Yeah.
We brought all of our equipment. Lo and behold, we came together.
Yeah.
And I made it difficult. And I can acknowledge that. And that's part of growing up. I made it difficult when we tried to start live recording.
Yes, we did.
I made it difficult when we were just actually recording. And one thing that I wanted to do with this table is I wanted to get back to the basics. Just dudes sitting here, talking about some cool stuff, relating to each other, talking to each other. Not necessarily agreeing, but having a back and forth. And understanding that those conversations are super crucial to making sure that
we lost about 400 pounds along the way, but
we did, but they're still okay. And somehow, I'd like to think that we helped them stay okay through forcing them to continuously be around us. Because Austin, he's always got to be around me, and Tony, he lives with us. But at the same time, Tony built this. And this has a little history as well, because this tabletop right here was actually built so that Ozzy could have a workstation in the garage where he could have shelves to put his creations up.
yeah.
And then when he needed
a former workbench.
Yeah, when he needed a new bench top, Tony put another one on, took this one off, kept it off, and I looked at it and I said, think it would make a cool anchor desk? To which they said, what do you mean? We don't want to do anything like that. But then, I force people into things, right? So I can't remember the exact inch that we went down, but we went on one side down this way, and then basically we went down the other side the other way.
Yeah.
And that same length, I think it was like 33 inches or something like that.
Yeah.
And it made a diagonal line, so this thing was actually a rectangle before it was this. But when you flip one side over, you had what looks like an anchor desk. And so I said, I wanted it modular. Can you make this freaking thing that it sits on and give it legs and give it a front? He says, sure, no problem. He didn't say it like that. But, you know, sometimes I have to act like he says it like that because he really does make this shit look fucking easy. Mm-hmm. And it pisses us both off. Yeah. Because we worked on just this for like 15 minutes, and then he's done with the whole thing in a day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then he puts these things on there so that it has a lip for depth. And then he puts this leg right here, this leg, so that this side doesn't sink down. And then
this thing seems sturdy. It's a facade.
Yeah, it's 100% sturdy, but it's only because Tony built it. Yeah, I thought it. Tony built it.
Yeah, like you see how there's not any play in that, and all it is a shell with a leg.
Yeah,
it's impressive.
Not to mention, I mean, I wanted it to be modular as hell, and when it started to come together, it was like, this is pretty fucking cool.
It's a bass drum under here.
Yeah, and then he said, I got one better for you. I'm going to sand this down to an almost glass finish, and then I'm going to coat it many times with a type of
all the hot spots.
All right. What's this called? A clear coat? Is that how you put it?
It's a varnish. Yeah.
A varnish. He varnished it. He varnished the shit out of this.
Then varnished it. Sanded it, varnished it again.
Yeah. He varnished the varnish. That's what he did. And as you can see, this side is kempt, while this side has a bunch of scratches and shit like that.
And gouges. This is from cutting foam and pyramid heads and mask and all that stuff.
So something I haven't said in a while. It's a circle. And I think that doing it this way, because we have a much simpler setup now. We have one camera. We have 5 lights. We have a badass desk. We got new mics. We have different ways to talk to you. We got different ways to share things. We have a lot of new stuff that we're working on, but we're not going to tell you to be patient.
No.
We're going to tell you that we're just trying to put this out there the way we want to put it out there.
More is on the way. So you've been with us this far. Let's see how far we can go.
Tell your friends. But when we were live, even it looked good. We had it looking pretty good. And while it worked, and while you guys might have liked it,
we're not scripted now.
It wasn't digestible.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy for you to just go and find a video of ours.
He's long-winded as fuck.
100%.
Look at him.
Yeah. God,
it's just us here. He's been talking to you.
I remember that time I siphoned that fucking pool. Yeah, I did that. I'm not proud of it. But at the same time, I'm proud of what we've built here. And I'm proud that the people who started this are still a part of it, whether it be small
or big
or
behind the scenes.
And I'm proud that you guys are still willing to fucking call us idiots. And I'm proud that even if we don't get this thing as off the ground as I dreamed it could be, that we tried.
And just know that if you ever lost your teeth, we'd help you dig in the trash to find them. I'm Walter Cronkite.
This is a different story. You don't have to tell them about that. They're gonna know to go, like they don't need to know that at all. But like on a serious note, I think that we're gonna put things out in a more digestible manner, and I think that we're just gonna continue to grow the way that we want to, as opposed to just feeling forced to just chase something.
Yeah.
Because you know what we're chasing right now? We're kind of chasing the idea that everything else will be okay. And that's okay, because some people don't get the opportunity to do shit like this. We're lucky as fuck. However, that doesn't mean that we have to put out a shit product, or we have to rush things, or we have to, make promises that we can't keep, which everybody has done, but I've done it a lot on this show purely because I'm an entertainer. I like entertaining. So even though it's not the same Nerd Night Podcast, and that name might change soon enough just so it can be just as digestible as the content that we're hoping to create, what we can also say is, welcome to Nerd Night Podcast.